Hello, welcome back to Rendezvous Photography. It was about in fourth grade, if I recall correctly. My teacher, our teacher, I should say, put together a class project for us all, and we were to select a state out of, at that time it was the 48 states in the United States. And we were to select one of those states. Each of us selected a different state and send off to that state and ask for some literature that tells about what they do there and what their state is famous for, things like that. And we had our choice of states. They weren't given to us. And so, everybody chose California or New York, and, stuff like that. But I didn't. I was a little different. I chose Michigan, the state of Michigan. And when I told the teacher that we had to tell her out loud, during class which state we wanted, and she got a puzzled look on her face, and she said, Why do you want Michigan, Ronnie? I said, well, that's where they make cars. And that was true back then. That was where almost all vehicles were made. And in later years, it occurred to me that that was the beginning of an era that has lasted a lifetime. Folks, I'm a car guy, and I always have been, and yep, I'm always going to be a car guy. Little, small, powerful, cheap, whatever. I like cars. And that's why, if you can imagine, that's why I was so excited a few years ago when I was visiting in Kauai, on the island of Kauai. And I was out driving around by myself that day. Imagine my surprise when I took this little side road off a dirt road. I took it off the main road and just took it to see what was back there. And I was driving along real slow. It's nothing but forest and bushes and stuff like that. And I started seeing some metallic things in the background, something that shouldn't be there. So I got out and I investigated, and holy cow, there in the middle of that forest, forgotten for years and years, was a I guess a junkyard filled with 1950s cars. They weren't good cars. They were pretty much totaled, but they were still there, and you could tell what they were, most of them. And oh, wow, I just walked around there in amazement. All these old cars from the 50s, which is probably my favorite era. And, well, I didn't. I beat feet right back to the car and got my camera. In those days, I was using the D300, the Nikon D300. This camera, the exact camera, actually. The lens is different because I sold the lens that I used that day, but... Anyway, man, I walked back in that forest, and, folks, it was just me. There was nobody there. It was just quiet and peaceful. You could hear the ocean way off in the distance, but it was just me. No one's there. It's not crowded like the rest of the island, and it was quiet, and I spent hour, maybe 2 hours just investigating these cars and taking pictures of them, and it was so enjoyable. I mean, I really enjoyed myself, and it was a little sad because they were all beat up and crushed, some of them, and wrecked and rusty, but still you could still see them and look at them and touch them. Yeah, I was quite happy. I went home, got in the car, and went back to our what did we have? Well, we had a little house we rented, and I went back there and just sat down and just looked through all the pictures I took at those cars. That was probably my favorite group of pictures that I took that whole trip in Hawaii, old beater cars. And so, and that's what I'm gonna, I decided I would do a little video on that day and show you some of the pictures I took. And it just brought me back when just looking at them. It was such a nice day. Anyway, so yeah, let's go look at them right now, and then I'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more. And this is going to be a short video, so we'll just talk a little more, and I'll show you one that I have printed out of the ones you're going to look at, and we'll talk about it, and you know, maybe a little bit about how I edited it. So yeah, let's go right now, and let's take a look at those beater cars of Kauai. Well, I hope you like those pictures. Even though they're junk cars, not much to them, and they're worthless actually. Maybe you can get somebody could get a few parts off of them, I guess, but they're still beautiful to me. That's what I thought when I took those pictures. So I was really glad I stopped that day and got out of the house and did a little exploring. And got away from all the tourists. That was a great thing to do right there. So, I edited those. I'll tell you how I edited those pictures. To start with, I just did basic editing, more or less auto everything in Photoshop, and that got me a general picture. I think I changed the white balance maybe to a little cooler than Photoshop was saying. But the rest of it, I just did auto exposure and, just common everyday stuff. And just to get a good picture. And then after that, I went through, and I'm going to show you a little video right here as I'm talking that shows you how I further enhance these pictures just a little bit using all Photoshop. It was pretty simple, as you'll see from the video you're watching now. It was all pretty simple. I did this little video so I don't have to explain everything. Pretty much, if you watch it, you'll see all the settings, and it was fun doing that too. It changed them so much. Folks, they're your pictures. If you take them, they're your pictures. Do anything you want with them. If you don't want them to be lifelike, don't make them lifelike. Just feel free to do whatever you want because they're your pictures. Don't try to lie and say they're just exactly like you've seen it. But at the same time, don't be afraid to just be creative with them. So anyway, that's my little spiel for today. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you pause it, you'll see where I put my brush settings at on the oil painting and everything like that. So I did print one of those out, and I have it here. Let's take a look at that. I couldn't decide which one to print, but I finally selected this one here. All right, so I like this one. It's kind of I don't know, it looks different with that cars on top of each other like that. So this was with the D300s camera, Nikon 12 to 24 f4 lens. That's what I used, and I sold that many years ago. This was shot at 12 millimeter or 18 millimeter with the crop sensor. My settings were 1/125th of a second, f10, and ISO 200. And there you go. It's kind of a cool picture. I kind of like that one too. So there's that. Hope you enjoyed that. And I think that's about going to be all for this video. I just wanted to make a short one. I've got some things going up in my cabin, a big project. I'm trying to get finished before winter, and I'm doing it all myself, and it takes longer to do it when you're working by yourself, especially when you're old, you know. But anyway, that's why I haven't been on YouTube for a while. And I don't know, I've got more to do. The winter's coming up really quickly, and I want to get this mostly done before winter. So that's why I haven't been on lately, and I may not be regular here for a little while longer, but I'm going to try. So, and also, if you want to see all these photos in a gallery, click on the link in the description below, and that'll take you right to my Smug Mug gallery for these Kauai cars here, and you can look at them as long as you want. And there's a little icon you can click on. I can't remember what it is. I think it's I, just the letter I, and that will give you all the settings, the camera settings that I use for any particular picture right there. So that's always fun to look at. So yeah, click on the link if you want to see them. And that's about all I got right now, folks. I sure appreciate you stopping by. I really do. And give me a like if you like it, and maybe a comment. Appreciate that. And I'm glad for all the new subscribers. That's kind of hard. That's heartening for me. I guess that's a word, heartening. I don't know. Anyway, you guys take care. Keep shooting. Keep taking pictures. Don't be afraid to do what you want to do with them. All right. We'll talk to y'all later. You guys all have a good week. Bye now.